Hi everyone, welcome again to another Teacher Joseph video clip. And here I am again with you talking about storytelling. Now today I want to share with you a story that I've written. You might not know this, but in the northern part of the UK, there's a lot of mythology. We have the Loch Ness Monster, for example. But we also have many other monsters, fairies, witches. We have stories of many other kinds of existence rather than just humans. Now, it is true that few people believe in these stories. Many people see them as an early form of psychology. And some people see them as teaching us life lessons and how we should be living our life today. Whatever opinion you have of them, I'd like to share with you a story that I've written about a supernatural creature. We're going to learn all about him. Now, I had initially written this story for my Scottish Gaelic YouTube channel for people who were learning Gaelic. But I'm now understanding that it's something that you would really like to see as well. In this story, I'm going to help you understand a little bit more about Scottish mythology. Now, I know that many of you are very into writing and mythological creatures. And we're going to take one today. His name is Sam, and he's a Selkie. And we're going to take him and we're going to talk about words which represent him, new words which we can use to describe the main character in my story. So without waiting any longer, let's read about Sam the Selkie. And don't worry, I'll tell you what a Selkie is as we go on. Right, so here we are. And if you're just joining us today, we're talking about a very specific Scottish mythological creature. I'm sure in your country too, there's some kind of mythology. Perhaps it could be a fairy, or maybe it's a witch that lives in a particular place. Scotland, the northern part of the UK, is very famous for its belief in creatures. And the most famous one that I think you will know is the Loch Ness Monster, commonly referred to as Nessie and usually referred to as a female. That's a monster who lives in the northern parts of the UK. Of course, very few of us think that Nessie exists, but it's been a legend which has been carried forward from the Celtic days, because the northern part, of course, of the UK was Celtic, and many people there still speak Gaelic. A selkie is a seal. You know the little animal, the seal, you see them at the circus? Ow, ow, ow. And you can find them eating fish by the sea. There is a Scottish legend that these seals, these animals, may actually be selkies. Let me explain what a selkie is. A selkie is a seal, the animal, and I'll just write this, by the way, just in case you're wondering how to spell it. Okay, so I'll just put it here, seal. Okay. Samuel the Selkie, okay, is not only a seal, he's actually half man, half seal. There is a belief, or I should say maybe there was a belief, that the seal, the animal who lives in the water, is actually half human, half seal. And the stories that we hear about selkies are something like this. The selkie comes to the beach, removes his seal coat, and steps out of it and is human. So if he wants to sunbathe for a while, he takes off his seal costume, he sunbathes. When he's finished, he goes back inside his seal suit and he goes back to the water. Now, this is a very famous legend. But some of these legends and stories about selkies are really very sad. We have all kinds of stories about female selkies. And they come to the beach because they want to sunbathe. They take off their coat, their seal coat. And when they take it off, something very strange happens. A human, a bad man might come along and he might steal the coat. And when he does this, the selkie, the female selkie, she knits her coat back, so she follows him, and they end up getting married. He hides the coat where she'll never find it, and she remains almost like a slave forever. She has kids, she's very sad, she wants to go home to see her parents, but the bad man won't let her leave. Even if she did leave, there's nowhere she can go because she doesn't have her special seal coat that would allow her to go back into the water. And the legend tells us that when she finds her coat, when she's going through the house searching for the coat, when she finds it, she immediately runs to the sea with the children and disappears forever. The story about male selkies is something very similar. The selkie, he comes to the beach to do some sunbathing. He's lying there, and as he lies there, a woman comes and steals his coat, and he has to follow her home, and he marries her and really wants his coat back. And he searches everywhere and he can't find it. And of course, when he does find it, he's a little bit less fussy than the women are. He doesn't just run back to the sea. He thinks about his next course of action. It's a very interesting story. That's a selkie. And I'm going to introduce him to you now in this story. So the animal is a seal, and the story is set in the 2030s, and supernatural beings are now living in modern society alongside humans. A group of Scottish Gaelic supernatural beings have set up a 12-step recovery group, like Alcoholics Anonymous or Drug Addicts Anonymous. I'm sure you know these groups. They have them in every country, and they're very popular in the English world. And so they're all attending this self-help group, you can call it, while they're trying to adapt to modern life. So the idea is that supernatural creatures like the monster in Loch Ness, they're no longer hiding from us. We all know they exist, and some of them marry us. Okay? It says here, some of these supernatural beings, remain hidden in the shadows, pretending to be human, while others are very open about their identity. The story revolves around the racism and discrimination they face in modern society while trying to fit in. The main character is a selkie, half man, half seal, named Samuel. And he's trying to find meaning in living in a very human world. He has a kind of romanticism and yearning about being back in the sea. But his second wife, who left him in the year 2000, took his seal skin, his precious coat. So he's stuck living on dry land. He's currently living with his mother and has 3 children. And he has visiting rights for those children as well. Let me tell you a little bit more about Samuel the Selkie. Now, the Selkie is actually a Scottish mythological monster. It appears in many children's books. He's usually very kind. Well, they often are portrayed as women. It's something like a mermaid or a merman, if we think of the male version. But of course, in this story, and in all of the stories of the Selkies, they can appear completely human. Okay, so Sam the Selkie. Let's see what we can say about him. He lives in a lighthouse. Well, that's no surprise, because if he loves the sea so much, then of course he wants to live close to it. He's divorced, so he's living alone, and he gets to see his children sometimes at the weekends. And he's desperately seeking his coat. So he lives in a lighthouse. That's what we know about him, first of all. He wants his coat back so he can go back to the sea. Yeah. And there will be a court case about this. Okay, so he's taking his wife to court in order to get his coat back. Okay, what else do we know about Selkies generally? Well, they're very family-orientated people. He wants his children, you know. And Sam is very important in this story because he's the one who kind of looks after the group. And maybe in the future, I'll be telling you more about Scottish supernatural creatures and how they live. Now, of course, in my version, it's now 2030. We're in the decade of the 2030s. And people like Samuel, the Selkie, or the Loch Ness Monster, are all attending a self-help group because they've married Scottish people and they're not happy. Okay, so this is what we know about Sam so far. He lives in a lighthouse. He wants his coat back so he can go back to the sea. And there will be a court case about this in order for the wife to give him the coat. What else can we say? Well, in my story, I've added in a few other bits. He likes to Skype his parents every week, but they're always asking when he's going back. And so when he talks to them, he gets a little bit sad because he doesn't want them to know that he's trapped on dry land. That's all I wanted to say about Sam the Selkie today, but we do want to describe him a little bit more using some adjectives. So let's do that now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a text box just so that we can write. Okay, so let's see. This will take me a minute to find where the text box is. Oh, did I see something there? I think I did. Insert. Let's see. Pictures, illustrations, links, comments, headers. There it is. Text box. Right. So I'm just going to put this in a simple text box. There we are. And I'll just move this a little bit out the way. 1 second. There we are. Right. Let's just scroll up a little bit. Right. So we're putting in the text box. So insert, and we have the text box here. Simple text box. There we are. Right. So how are we going to describe Samuel the Selkie? What's the best word to describe him? Well, he's a little bit sad. He's a little bit forlorn. And I'm going to check the spelling of that just to make sure that I have it right. I'm sure I have, but I just wanted to double check because it's such an unusual word and it means very, very upset, you could say. Yeah, so it's forlorn. Okay, so let me just see if I've spelled it correctly. Yeah, forlorn, pitifully sad and abandoned or lonely. So it's without the E there. So we can say Sam is very forlorn. He's a little bit confused as well. You can see that about him. So he's sad, forlorn, confused. And how old shall we make him? Well, I think we'll give him around, let's say, 30 to 40. It would be very rude to ask, wouldn't it? So he's 30 to 40 years old. And what else can we say about him? He's sad, forlorn, confused. He's yearning to get back to the sea. He's yearning to get back to the sea. We can say that maybe he's showing addictive tendencies. I haven't decided whether I'm going to write about him having a problem with drugs or alcohol, but one thing is for sure, he's not okay. Okay, so we'll say he's fun-loving, and we'll say he's recovering from an addiction to alcohol. Okay, recovering means that he's sober, and he talks about that in the meeting that he attends. So sad, forlorn, confused. He's 30 to 40 years old. He's yearning to get back to the sea. He's fun-loving. He's recovering from an addiction to alcohol. Okay, let's see what other things we can say about him. Well, one thing is for sure, we can say that he likes to swim. So he's a good swimmer. Okay, that's one thing we can say about him. What else shall we say? Well, he certainly loves children. And because he loves kids so much, as we can say about men who love kids, he's a family man. That's how we describe people who love children. People who have their own families, I mean, not just random children. So he likes to look after his kids. He's a family man. Also, in my story, Sam the Selkie is a developer. So he works online as a developer. And he works from home in his lighthouse. Okay, so lots of nice things there we can say about Sam. Any other adjectives we can use? Or maybe we can say that he's a little bit lonely. We also can say he loves the ladies. He loves the ladies. Yes, he has those. Oh, loves the ladies. No, I don't think so. He loves the ladies. Yeah, he has those swithering good looks, the dark eyes and the dark hair. Here, those kinds of people are considered to be very attractive. Italian-looking people or Mediterranean-looking. So he has a kind of tanned skin. People who have tanned skin, we call them sallow. Okay, so that's how we would describe him. He has a sallow complexion. I'm just going to check the spelling of sallow because I can never remember. Yeah, skin that has lost its natural complexion Due to health conditions, that's not right. Sallow is how we describe people who are a little bit tanned. It says here that it's a skin condition, but I'm sure it isn't. Okay, so his complexion is kind of sallow. Anyway, if he's swimming in the sea, he is going to be sallow. So we say he's sallow. Um, he looks like he comes from the Mediterranean. So we say Mediterranean appearance. Yeah. Brown hair and brown eyes. There we are. So that's a little description of Sam the Selkie. And we're going to learn more about him in the coming days and weeks, especially when he goes to his 12-step meeting. He has his friends there, other supernatural creatures. One is the washerwoman who always predicts death. They call her Jessica Fletcher because wherever she goes, someone dies, because that's her job, a bit like a banshee. We also have a mermaid who's addicted to drugs, and many others too that I need to introduce you to. And maybe one day we'll have a special guest. The Loch Ness Monster might come with his friends. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. This is just a little introduction into Scottish mythology. And in the north, in Scotland, especially in the north, you can find a Selkie. And who knows, the next time you look at that seal, it could be Sam. See you for now. Bye.